Welcome back to Charlie's Fiswitzky's. It's Leaf Talk right here in Vaughan, and we're, of course, broadcasting to you live on TalkingSports.tv. Joining us now on the line is the one, the only Leafs great Daryl Sittler. Daryl, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Hello to everybody there in Vaughan.
So first things first, I want to ask you a little bit about last night. I know it was obviously a pretty important night, the opening puck drop for the NHL season. We saw a lot of rough stuff. We know that last year this Maple Leaf squad was a tough team to play against, and it looks like they're going to be doing the same thing. A lot of people talking about what happened to George Parros and all of that fighting. In your eyes, have you seen, I guess, fighting on the rise, and are you in agreement with maybe getting rid of it in the game?
Well, it's not an easy question to answer in the fact that, like in the 70s when I played, they had the Broad Street Bullies. Flyers used intimidation to help make their team better, and good players, when I say good players, players that played on a regular basis, were expected to fight. And I got in a number of fights myself, not wanting to or liking it, but that was the way the game was played. It's obviously changed a lot now where teams have their tough guys fighting the tough guys, and it's become, I don't even think a player has to be mad anymore to fight. It's kind of a stage thing, and some of that I'm not all concerned or like that much, but at the same time, when I see a fight happening, I'm like every other fan, you're excited to watch it. So it's kind of a catch-22. It's entertainment. You hate to see things happen like it did to George last night, to get hurt like he did. But the guys are big, they're strong, and they're stronger and bigger than when I played. And because of that strength and the force and their toughness, their guys continue to get hurt with whether it's a punch, concussion, or hit their head on the ice or their jaw. And, I'm sure the NHL is concerned about it, but I think what might have to happen is if it continues and there is lots of concern, which I think there will be, that they'll probably have to bring the players in and let the players decide whether they want this as part of their sport or not,
Daryl, you were the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, a great captain, a great ambassador. I know you still follow this team very closely. Last year, this hockey team surprised a lot of people when they got into the playoffs in a shortened season. They gave Boston a great run for their money, taking them to 7 games. They've made improvements in the offseason, acquiring Jonathan Bernier and David Clarkson, re-signing Tyler Bozak, giving Phil Kessel his money. What's your take right now on this Maple Leaf team? I know that they pride themselves on being a team that's very hard to play against. They've got a nice mix of skill, size, toughness, 2 good goaltenders. I'm optimistic about this team. What's your take on them?
Well, I think you said it all. I'm very optimistic, too. I think the fact that we're young, too, we're not an old team, and there's lots of enthusiasm there. I like the character of the players that we added. Both Clarkson and Bolin have won championships as is Bernier, so that adds another ingredient, aside from their talent and their, the character of the person. So I like it. It's nice that the management got the Kessel deal signed. It's not going to be a stumbling block throughout the season or a sense of controversy surrounding it, so that's good. And we've got lots to look forward to. Yeah, we were disappointed, totally disappointed in how we lost to Boston, but the fact is that we were down 3-1 in the series. I don't think anybody gave us a chance to come back. We did. We were leading 4-1. Yeah, you can play that game 100 times and not have it happen the way it did. It did. But I think everybody realizes, hey, that's behind us, and I think they're all excited about what we've got looking forward to. And the other thing is Randy Carlyle, he's a pretty level-headed guy. I played with him. He's a demanding guy as a coach, and I think the players respect him, and he'll get the most of everybody. And you better come to play every night that you're not going to play. He's going to play the guys that he feels he can win with, and to me that's important to have those players on side like that.
Hi, Daryl. It's Brian Wilkes. How you doing?
Brian. Good, Brian.
Good. Just want to ask you about your duties with the Leafs and how you're enjoying that, and what your exact duties are and your job description is, and just a little bit about that part of things.
Okay. Back when I played with the Leafs in the 70s, we never had an alumni association. Harold Ballard didn't, respect or warrant that we warranted one. When Steve Savro and Cliff Fletcher took over in '91, the whole thing changed. And I came on board with the Leafs back in '91 as an assistant to Cliff as the president, but he gave me an opportunity to grow in whatever area I felt comfortable with and how much I wanted to work and not work, so to speak. So going through the 90s and 2000, obviously we went over to the Air Canada Centre, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, and bought the hockey club, and they've realized quite quickly the importance of having a partnership with our alumni. So Wendell Clark and myself are former alumni players that are on the payroll with the Leafs. We have huge corporate partners. We just signed a big deal with Canadian Tire. Molson's is one of our corporate partners. And Wendell and I get involved in the community. We're ambassadors. We're at a number of games throughout the season, visiting suites, meeting our corporate partners and customers and fans throughout the year. So that's basically what I do. I'm not involved too much on the hockey side, although once in a while I'll go down the dressing room or, having known Randy from playing with him and previous coaches, and I'm welcome to be around. I don't interfere with it. I don't get into the scouting side of things, but more on a PR basis. And outside of that, that's my Leaf MSLE responsibilities, but I took the director's course at Rotman University. I'm a director of a few mining companies. I enjoy that. I go and do some speaking, and I also represent some other companies in PR. So I'm a busy guy, but I try to do things in clusters so I get an opportunity to go down and enjoy my son and my grandson down in Florida from time to time. So,
folks, you're watching TalkingSports.tv, and we are privileged and very fortunate to be joined by arguably the greatest Leaf of them all, Darryl Sittler. Certainly one of the greatest Leafs of all time, and was a guy who was a great captain. And I don't sit around and stroke people too often. You guys know that. But Darryl Sittler was the man when he played with the Leafs. By the way, we had Lanny McDonald on the program last night, your former right winger. And I understand you guys are playing each other in some kind of charity game?
Well, what it is each year when the Hall of Fame weekend is in Toronto, they have a Hall of Fame game of alumni players. Generally, a lot of them are ex-Hall of Famers, and then the current guys who are being inducted. Other years, it's been in the Air Canada Centre. This year, they're having it in the old Maple Leaf Gardens, Matabee Centre. And Lanny, to promote it and advertise it, they got Team Sittler against Team McDonald. I think guys like Tiger are coming in, Boria, a number of guys, and it'll be a fun event. It's on a Sunday afternoon, and we don't get to put the skates on too often anymore because it's the next day I'm pretty stiff and sore, but I'm looking forward to that game. But then we've got the Winter Classic coming up in Detroit, and there's such interest in it. We're going to have two alumni teams playing against the Red Wings, two alumni teams. So
You're playing in that too?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You're playing in that too?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, look forward to that. That'll be good.
You're in better shape than anyone here on the panel, except for Michelle, okay?
There you go. But it's, that atmosphere. But it's nice to see Detroit in our conference now. And when I played, obviously we had a good rivalry with the Red Wings back in the '70s, and it'll be nice to see everybody there. It'll be a great atmosphere for the New Year's weekend there. So,
Darryl, I just want to throw one more question at you, and then we'll let you go. And we really thank you for coming on with us. During your captaincy, you were the man. You were the unquestioned leader in the Maple Leaf dressing room. There are rumblings right now about the captain of your team right now, Dion Phaneuf. And there's no question this guy has a lot going for him. He certainly has a very good shot. As Brian Wilkes said, he does a lot of things that other players in the NHL can't do. Yet we're hearing rumblings, usually from unnamed kinds of sources, that maybe his captaincy isn't as well liked or as well respected by his teammates as yours was. How do you advise a guy like this, or do you know of any real problems with Dion Phaneuf as captain?
I don't have any sense of that whatsoever, and I'll be honest with you. I'm not down there. I don't get and talk to the players about that. But all I know is when we made Dion the captain, there's a huge responsibility that comes with it, a huge expectation from the media, from the fans, from your teammates, and everybody else. And I know as a captain, when I played, it was important that I had good leaders around me. So I was fortunate to have guys like Tiger and Boria, Lanny, Patty Boutet, different character guys. And I think the management and our organization, by acquiring Dave Bolin and and David Clarkson added some more character to our team, and that makes Dion's takes a little bit of pressure and heat off him. The other thing I know is when we had good teams and we were winning and competitive, everybody thinks you're a great leader because the team is winning, and when you're losing, then they look at you and blame you for the leadership, yet you're still the same person. So, I mean, Dion's growing. There's a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure comes with it, but I think for the most part he's doing a good job, and I'm sure we'll win with a guy like him. I look at a guy like Stevie Yzerman. I was there in the early 80s, I guess, mid 80s, when Stevie was just a young guy, and Detroit went through some stumbling blocks there too, in getting into the playoffs, and Stevie didn't make Team Canada the one year, and they talked about his leadership, and here you look at a number of years later, he'd won 4 Stanley Cups, I think, and he was one of the better leaders in the game. So it wasn't because he changed as a person or a player. He just happened to get in a situation where he had some good people, good support group around him, and the management believed him, and it went on to be a great leader in the game. So, I think that's what we have to do with Dion, and if we win this year, people's attitudes might change somewhat,
Daryl Sittler, thanks so much for taking the time. We're going to get back at you again down the road on this program here, Leaf Talk on TalkingSports.tv here at Charlie Fitz Whiskies. Thanks a million, Daryl. Really great to have you.
So thank you, and we enjoy chatting with you, and look forward to the Leafs and the Philly game tonight with everybody else there.
Same here. Thanks a lot, Daryl Sittler.
Thank you.
And yeah, I got to tell you, folks, I saw Davey Keon, and I saw George Armstrong, and I saw Matt Sundin and Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark, all the great captains, and they're all great. But to me, Daryl Sittler is right there above each and every one of them.
Couldn't agree more. And you know what? We got the Leaf perspective. Looking forward to the Flyer perspective. John LeClair coming up next.
Right after this. Stay tuned, folks. You're watching Talking Leafs, or Leafs Talk, on TalkingSports.tv, brought to you by McCain's here at Charlie Fitz Whiskies. Don't go away.